for me. Thank you.
Cool. Let me share my screen here. I'm just gonna record this for everybody else. And feel free to ask me any questions. This will be 10, 15 minutes. So, alrighty. So today I'm gonna just walk through. This is macros 101. This is uh, um very basic, simple, but very important to know as it relates to your health journey and what you eat, why it matters, and and I want to call out some calories. I call them hidden calories in plain sight. And so the goal of this training is to give you guys a little bit more awareness. So that way when you're eating, even when you're eating out, when you're choosing foods, you understand the macros behind it. Okay. So I'm gonna run through it. Section one, what are macros? There are three macronutrients that make up your total calories. Okay. There's proteins, carbs, and fats. Now, 1 gram of protein is 4 calories, 1 gram of carb is 4 calories, but 1 gram of fat is 9 calories. Okay. So very important to know. Fats are required for nutrient absorption. They're good for hormones. This is a very calorically dense macro. So if you're in a building stage and you have a lot of calories to eat, this is where you can really get in extra calories if you're having a hard time eating. Vice versa, if you're on a cut and you're in a caloric deficit and you're really trying to watch your calories, this macro fats is a macro that you want to really watch and put a little bit more attention to. For proteins, right, we know that protein builds and repairs muscle. Protein is the most satiating macro out of the three. So that is why protein is super important, because when you eat enough protein, you're more satiated, you're less likely to overeat, and it gives you energy throughout the day. Protein is the hardest macro to overeat. That is why we track protein, because we will never accidentally hit protein. I've been training for the past 10 years. I have never accidentally overeat protein. I have to make a conscious effort every single day to hit protein because most of the foods that we eat are high carbs and high fats. Okay. Carbs, 4 calories per gram. This is our body's primary energy source. This is what fuels our brain. This is what fuels our workouts. And I would say this is the most misunderstood macro because it gets demonized for fat gain. Okay. But if you look at carbs, carbs are actually not what causes overeating. It's the carbs and the fats together. So think of our pastries, croissants, like a burger. Like carbs are not high calorie. They are high calorie when they're paired with fats, which is in most of our food. So they get demonized. Okay. So something I wanted to call out there. Now, looking at the caloric density, if you guys are going to take anything away from macros in general, it's understanding that 1 gram of protein and carbs is 4 calories. 1 gram of fat is 9 calories, which means it's double the amount of calories for proteins and carbs. And also, alcohol is 7 calories per gram. Okay. So, alcohol does have higher calories compared to carbs. That is why when I'm coaching clients, I'm always like, hey, I'd rather have you pull back from alcohol and cocktails and shift that over to eating real food because you can just get more bang for your buck that way. I like to think of calories like your bank, right? Like let's say you have 1,500 calories to spend. You want to invest that money, strategically, right? You can blow your money here, or you can spend it on something that's actually going to pay back with ROI and dividends. That's how I like to think of macros when you eat out. So for example, Vicky, you did a great job. You went out to lunch. You're like, it's not that you can't have that. By the way, I was going to give you that little coaching thing. It's not that you can't have it. It's that you're choosing not to. Okay. That's a difference there. It's a nuance. You chose not to eat that. You chose to go home, eat your meal so that we can go out and have sushi because you'd rather spend your money on sushi, which actually gives you bit better bang for your buck from a caloric standpoint and from, enjoyment standpoint too. Okay. The main note here is that fat isn't bad because I know I'm saying that it's a lot of calories. The only thing I want to say is that they add up fast if you're not tracking it. Okay. So you can eat a perfectly clean meal and blow your entire calories because you cooked with like 3 tablespoons of olive oil without even thinking about it, right? We all have done that, right? We throw in some butter, a little bit of olive oil, a little bit of dressing sauce. That's like 500, 800 calories. We're not even thinking about that. Is putting us over our caloric deficit. Any questions there so far? Any thoughts? Awesome. Cool. Let's jump into the hidden calories traps. Okay. These are the biggest things that add up without realizing it. The first one I already mentioned is cooking oil. Okay. That goes for avocado oil, olive oil, anything. Most people use around 2 to 3 tablespoons per meal. That's upwards to 360 calories before the food even hits your plate. Right? And so imagine if you're cooking 2 to 3 meals and you're eating throughout the week at 360 calories times seven, that's an extra 1,500 to 2,000 calories that we're not even thinking about, right? Salad dressings. Okay. Something that I always tell all of my clients to do, and I just went out to eat for lunch yesterday with a friend. We got a salad with before our chicken kebab plate. We always ask for the dressing on the side. Okay. The reason for this is that salad dressings are very high calorically dense. And even if you're eating a Caesar salad and it doesn't seem like they put a lot of um, dressing on it, hundreds of calories right there. So what I typically do is have it put it on the side and I just grab a fork and I put a little bit over so that way it's a lot more controlled. Okay. Most people you pour 4 to 6 tablespoons of salad dressings on their salads, and that goes for olive oil, right? Vinaigrettes as well. So something to keep in mind. Some other hidden calorie bombs: nut butters, almond butters, peanut butters, even nuts. Like, I don't know about you guys, but I can crush a whole tub of cashews and I don't realize I crushed like 1,000 calories. They're so good. And I'm like, oh, they're healthy, it's nuts, right? But that's like an extra 1,000 calories. I could have had 2 meals right there. I could have had a steak and potatoes and broccolini and, but something to keep in mind there. Okay. Specialty coffees. All right. I'm actually having one right now. This is my Sunday treat. Okay. This thing is probably 400 calories. Okay. I'm blowing 400 calories there. But I'm aware, right? I know where those calories are going. So lattes, right? Oat milk drinks, liquid calories are the easiest way to sneak in calories. If you're having a hard time eating, I was telling Bob this because Bob was having a hard time eating. Throw in fresh orange juice, right? Throw in like liquid calories. Very easy to get extra calories. So something there, right?
Hey,
Um,
hey, Dustin,
yes,
quick question. So,
sure.
you talk about the hidden calories of using like oil, avocado oil, etc.
Yes,
Um, like
Exit the parking lot towards Southwest Freeway.
I use like I make eggs in the morning, right? So I need a
yes.
little bit of oil in the pan. So I usually take a little bit of avocado oil,
Yep.
but then I wipe it with a paper towel to try to minimize it as much as I
Okay.
can, just so the pan doesn't stick. I mean, what? So what do you do when you cook? Sometimes you just
Oh,
need a little
yeah,
bit.
yeah. Yeah. Have you heard of
Okay.
avocado oil spray?
I don't know if I have that. I have. I mean, I just kind of wipe it. I have canola oil spray.
Yeah. Yeah, so I might even just track it. Maybe you can I would if I were you, I'd track, I don't know, half a tablespoon of olive
Okay.
oil. You have the calories to expend. It's not that it's bad. I would track it.
Okay.
But avocado oil spray, I'll actually send you a link to it. You can get it from Whole Foods. It's the same thing.
Okay.
You just spray it on the pan so that way it doesn't stick when you cook your eggs and you cook your food. And it's like
Okay.
0 calories. Yeah. Very minimal
Got
calories.
it.
A lot of
Okay.
people, and I've done this too, on Amazon. There's like a olive oil spray bottle. You can put the oils in there, and that way you can just spray your pan. That way you're getting the non-stick without having to pour the olive oil and then do the paper towel trick there. So
Got it.
yeah,
Okay. Thank you.
yep, I'll send it to you. Cool. Yeah, so back to this, some other hidden calories. What's up, Helen? Welcome to the training. We're just walking through macros 101, some hidden calories. So feel free to jump in, ask some questions. You can drop it in the chat as well. Sauces and condiments. Okay. Very easy to add up calories here, whether it's honey mustard, barbecue sauce. These add up if you're going to be eating it with your meals. So just something to keep in mind and to track. Okay. Now, when it comes to tracking, when I'm eating these foods, or let's say I'm cooking eggs, I'm using a little bit of olive oil. If you are in a caloric deficit, overestimate. Okay. So I would just add another 100 to 150 calories to whatever I'm eating if I feel like I'm in a cut. If I'm in a reverse building stage where I'm trying to over consume, I mean, in a surplus, I would underestimate just to make sure I'm over the line. Okay. Some other hidden calories, healthy snacks. I already mentioned this, cashews, okay, granola, protein bars. Just because something says high protein and it's healthy, it doesn't mean that it's low calories. Okay. You go to Costco, everything is high protein and everything's low fat now. Okay. But when you look at the calories, okay, very calorically dense. So something to keep in mind when you are shopping at the grocery store or wherever it is, you want to get the lowest calorie with the highest protein. That's going to be your best bang for your buck. That's what I personally filter through every food, is looking for the lowest calorie per serving with the highest amount of protein. Okay. Cool. Section 4, protein. Protein doesn't get talked about. I talked about it so much. But yeah, the main target is going to be 0.7 to 1 gram per pound of body weight. And if your body fat is over 25, around 30%, then your protein goal is going to be 1 gram per pound of goal body weight. So if you're 150 pounds and your goal weight is 130, your target is going to be 130 grams. Okay. We already talked about a lot about protein, but we know that preserves muscle. It's the most satiating macro. Okay. That is why when I coach someone with weight loss and the only thing we focus on is protein, most of the time they're going to lose their first 5 to 10 pounds by default because they're so full from protein that they're less likely to overeat. Okay. Another key point I mentioned there is it's the hardest macro to accidentally overeat, which is why tracking is very important, which is why awareness is very important when it comes to protein. Okay. It's the number one priority before you even think about optimizing for carbs and fats. So if I'm eating out, I'm at a wedding, I'm at a party, I'm at at an event, the first thing I always hunt for is protein first, and then I have the carbs and the fats after. Okay. Cool. We have a question here from Helen. Protein and plant-based food has a lower daily value than actual whole foods. Yes. So plant-based proteins, think about your lentils, things like tofu. They have high protein, but they are also high calories in carbs, as well. That is why it's very hard to lose weight and hit your macros on a plant-based diet. You have to be very dialed in, right? Because whole meats, steak, chicken, fish, those are just pure protein. You're getting pure protein, no carbs, no fats for a lot of those lean sources. But if you're doing plant-based, most of the time the ratio is going to be 60% protein, 40% carbs. So it's challenging to hit your protein intake on a plant-based diet, especially if you're vegan as well. So does that make sense, Helen? Hopefully that answers your question. Cool. Our carbs. Okay, let's talk a little bit about carbs. If you guys are going to walk away from anything, if anyone says, "Oh my God, I'm trying to cut carbs because I'm trying to lose weight," I need you guys to be like, it's not the carbs, it's that you're overeating calories. Okay. So the next time someone goes, like, I'm watching my carbs, tell them it's not the carbs. It's that you're overeating on things that are carbs and high in fats. So there are quality carbs. White rice is one of the best carb sources. Okay. It's easy on the gut, it's easily digestible. It's actually very low in calories as well. Potatoes, so russet potatoes, sweet potatoes, oats are another good one. Fruits, okay. Fruits are great carb sources as well. We have lentils, legumes that are high in protein here as well. Sourdough bread is another great carb source. And of course, we have veggies and fruits as well. Okay. Now, a couple of hidden calorie bombs when it comes to carbs here. We have flavored yogurts. Okay. We all know Greek yogurt is really healthy, high in protein, but a lot of Greek yogurts have like that fruit flavored in it. that make it very high calories. So something to keep in mind there. Granola, juices and smoothies are high in carbs. I don't know if you guys ever looked at the calories for like a cold pressed juice. You ever go to like press juicery, like a press juicery right after Pilates class. You want to get a press juicery. We think we're being healthy. We go to Whole Foods. Look at the calorie on that thing. It's like 500 calories, just straight carbs, right? So my recommendation is to always eat your fruits instead of drinking your fruits. That's going to be the best way. It's hard to overeat, consume on calories when you're eating fruits. Okay. So the goal isn't zero carbs here, okay, when you're on your health journey. It's just more awareness around what carbs are doing, which carbs are kind of beneficial for you for your energy, and which ones are just adding sugars and calories with no benefit. Okay. Cool. Any questions? What carbs there? Cool. All right, moving over to fats. Okay. So like I said, fats, 9 calories per gram is the most calorically dense macro. Okay. There's some different types of fats. We have unsaturated fats, which you want to prioritize because these are healthy for your hormones. It helps with mood. It helps with digestion, inflammation, heart health, things like avocado, whole eggs, almonds, cashews. These are all great, but eat in control because they are high in calories. The fats you want to stay away from are saturated fats. So moderately control this. So think of your butters, cheeses, red meat. That's why they're not unhealthy, but we just need to eat in moderate amounts. So that's when it comes to like red meat, most likely stay away from the ribeye. We all love a ribeye steak every once in a while, but you want to go something a little leaner. Let's say a filet or a top sirloin. Even if you're eating ground beef, try to go 93.7 grass-fed. Grass-fed meats are actually higher in omega-3s versus corn-fed beef, which is higher in saturated fats here. Okay, so that's what I'd recommend. We have trans fat as well, so fried foods, right? Anything packaged, there's no health benefits. Okay, trans fats are bad, inflammatory. Stay away from those. Cool. Any questions with fats? What's one biggest takeaway so far? What stood out to you guys so far from the training? Whether it's fats, macros, proteins, hitting calories. I'm curious. Drop it in the chat or you can just share. What about you, Vicky? We'll start with you.
Sorry, unmuting. This one's hard. I love the fact that you said rice is really good carb source because every time I did my diet, they always say don't eat rice, and that's part of my culture and
Yes.
something I eat a lot, and it's like a base. So to hear that it's actually not bad, and it actually has protein. I didn't even realize that, like some source of protein in it. So
Yep.
that's my base, right? And my go-to. So that's nice to hear that it's also good on your gut. Fat is the other one. So I think it's just be more mindful of the dressing and cooking with olive oil and all that.
Yeah.
But those are my two takeaways.
Love that. Cool. What about you, Helen?
I have noticed like sometimes where like I'm almost at my protein goal, I only need like 5 more grams of protein, 3 more grams of protein. And then I'm like, what can I eat that also has like more calories? And I don't want to eat any more chicken. I'm so sick of my lean ground beef. That like potatoes, like the Japanese sweet potatoes, I love them. They're like sweet. They're not too sweet for me. They're perfect. And like even the potatoes have protein in them. Like just as Vicky was saying, like rice has like a little bit of protein. It's not like a crazy amount, but like it's nice to know, like it's you have like 1 gram in it or something,
Yeah.
So that's kind of just what I've learned so far.
Cool. You can also definitely add almonds, cashews, to kind of your nutrition as well. So if you're under on protein and you still have calories, perfect way to get in some protein there. So cool. Yeah, so what do we go through so far? Quality carbs. Cool. We have Bob jumping back in. Bob, you just jumped back in. What's one takeaway so far as we're going through carbs, proteins, fats? What have you taken away?
Probably that I need to watch a little bit on some of the stuff that I cook with to make sure that I'm accounting for it. And just just watch carbs. I mean, I think I'm typically down on fats, so I try to eat things like cashews and stuff kind of at the end of
Mhm.
the night to catch up a little bit. But probably just watching some of the small little stuff that can add up.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Well, I'm glad there's, more awareness here. Yeah, especially with the fats. So cool. So we just went over fats. So this is something that you guys are already on it, but this is a great way to just bring a little bit more awareness now that you guys did this training. One is to just log everything for 3 days, which you guys are already doing, but something to keep in mind, right? The oils. What about sauces? What about drinks? Right? We can have some coffee, and then what do we usually put? Sometimes a little bit of honey. Oh my God, a little bit of creamer here. Oh my God, with my food, I'm dipping with a little bit of ketchup. All of those things, they add up to 400, 500 calories, everything, right? So the next 3 days, whatever that you put into your mouth, just think about it. How many calories are in here? Right? Because most people are super shocked by what they find when they start tracking every little thing, right? Um, Hit your protein target first, okay? That's going to be always key. And then identify what is the number one hidden calorie source that you've been eating that you haven't thought about. We all have hidden calories, okay? For me, it's this right here. This is my weakness. Is I get a vanilla oat latte and I check the calories before this training. This thing is almost 400 calories. Now I'm actually thinking about, wow, I should just go black coffee from here on out. I can actually save 400 calories there, right? So where is it? Is it in your coffee? Is it in your oil that you're cooking with your eggs? Is it the dressing that you're using? Name it first, and then you can decide what to do about it. Okay. So just bring some awareness there. All righty. Cool. That is all for my training today. Any questions? Anything I can help you guys with? Cool. All righty. Let's wrap up the call with one thing that you're going to commit to this week to improve your nutrition. Okay. Let's start off with Vicky. What is one thing you're going to commit to this week? I know you're on your meal prep. So tell me one thing.
Um, I've always been good about not drinking juices, so that'll be like, that's not a problem.
Okay.
It's the sauce, right? So, but I do measure my sauce. So when I put like saute, I actually do weigh it and
Okay.
everything when I put it in my meal. But I think instead of just weighing it and just logging it, I should look at how much calorie it is because I don't do
Mm.
that. I'm just like, I look at the total meal. I'm like, okay, I have, 1,500. I
Mm-hmm.
still have room. So I just let it go. But I don't actually look at that little teaspoon. What is it mean in
Mm.
comparison of calories to the rest of my meals? Because I don't. I'm like, okay, we're good. And then we move on. So
Yes.
I think that's kind of like the awareness that I'm hearing from this lesson is that just knowing it just makes you mindful. It doesn't make you stop eating it. It's
Yes.
just like, hey, especially when I'm eating out, I've never had the dressing on. I've always used my fork. But then, how many dips on that is it going to add? So I don't,
100%.
I'm not really thinking about that, right? And so I think having a number to some of the sauces that I log
Mm-hmm.
will probably be insightful.
Love that. Let's track your sauces. Good. All right, Bob, what about you? What's one thing you're going to commit to?
Um, I'm going to probably try to, I've been pushing to get more of my protein and calories in the morning, but I need to push a little bit more to kind of match that for lunch. So I'm not just kind of scrambling at the end of the night trying to sell calories. So I'm going to try to maybe eat a little bit more at lunchtime.
Okay. And how many grams of protein would you, are you intending to hit at your lunch?
I mean, I'd like to be, no less than 50, like 50 to 60, sort of the range.
Okay. And where is it at right now? On Friday you had a 54-gram protein lunch. That was good.
Yeah, no, but I just not as consistent as I'd like to be. I
Yeah.
feel like, sometimes if I'm down, I'll take a protein shake or something, and that'll kind of
Sure.
get me to where I need to be. But I really try not. I don't know if they're the most healthy thing to have all the time. I may have one a day,
Mm-hmm.
so I kind of want to make it a little bit more so it's not such a scramble at the end of the night, trying to
Got
figure
it.
out how to get my calories.
Okay, cool. Love that. Yep, front loading is the best way. So that way you're not kind of trying to hit that towards the end of the night. So love that goal. All right, Helen, you're the last one. What are you going to commit to for this week with your nutrition?
I think for me, I haven't had much issues like getting protein lately, but I will say I love my whey protein like creamer like in the morning with my coffee, and that's how I get like my 37 grams in the morning. But I do need to like find better like whole foods in the morning, like whether it's like an overnight chia seed pudding with protein or like just eating more protein in the morning than drinking my protein in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think that's one big thing, and I feel like I could do better tracking my fiber also.
Okay.
And then I think also whenever like I go out to eat, I mean I put it in like I track it the best that I can, like by taking a picture of it and like trying to eyeball, okay, maybe I had 2 ounces of beef, maybe I had like 4 ounces, or maybe it was less, maybe it was more, and stop like I guess trying to be so overcritical of it. And I guess it's sometimes since I'm not cutting right now and I'm trying to like overdo it, I guess it doesn't hurt too much to like I guess
Under report.
check it under report, you know.
Yeah,
But I think like in order for me to prepare better when I do finally start cutting, it's like just being more strict on it, like really like thinking, I guess not like having so much variety of things, I guess, because I feel like sometimes like I'm eating 10 different items and I have to track 10 different things, you know.
yeah,
Maybe just like eat 5 and not 10, and then like really try to eyeball, okay, I had probably like 2 ounces of this or something.
totally. Helen, for sure. I've been coaching you for a while. The number one breakthrough for you is going to how do you make it very simple? Because I know you're like, oh my God, how do I at the chia seed pudding? How do I make it very complex? The number
Yeah.
one thing for you is going to be how do I get 80% on my meals to be something very simple, and then I can sprinkle in all the fancy things to keep things, fresh. So
Right.
that's gonna be your number one breakthrough for sure. And we'll talk more about it with our one-on-one, but something to keep in mind. For
Okay.
example, so I prep Sundays and Wednesdays. Those are like days that non-negotiable. What I'll do is you know, Tia and I will prep a lot of protein for the next 3 days, and we have our rice cookers cooked up with a bunch of white rice. So now we have
Mhm.
white rice and protein all ready to go. Whenever we need to eat, we just weigh it out, and that's the bulk of our meal. And then, of course, we eat out, all of these things, but 80% of my meals are just very consistent with a
Mhm.
protein and like a rice. So that's gonna give you a lot of structure and foundation to build upon. So something to keep in mind there. Okay.
Thanks, Dustin.
Mm-hmm. All right, guys. Happy Sunday. I love to see you guys getting in your steps this morning. Hopefully this training was helpful. And we're gonna continue doing this every week here. So great stuff. If you need anything, I'm a message away. Let's get after it. All right, y'all.